Hello everyone, this is Alper from Fab Trips. Here to give you 5 things new post-pandemic cruises will never experience. Yes, 5 things that used to be the case but now will not happen moving forward. There's some things that the cruise lines have implemented right now that will probably disappear, but the 5 I'm going to highlight today are the ones that will remain even after the pandemic. And fortunately or unfortunately for new cruises after the pandemic, um, you will never experience them after this. So the first thing is the anytime arrival. So prior to the pandemic, what would typically happen is people were given time slots to arrive to board the ship. So most people like me will arrive early so that we can start enjoying the ship, having more fun or, faster to the fun. Anyways, it's not going to happen anymore. Moving forward, cruise lines are going to keep strictly to the timeline. In actual fact, it's going to be so bad that they won't allow you into the cruise terminal. The thing is, they will allow those who have the appointments to come in to the cruise terminal. After the pandemic, if you're planning to just show up anytime, well, I'll advise against that. You will have to go when your time is set. Prior to the pandemic, some cruise lines had started implementing paid services that would allow you to get on the cruise quickly, like the faster to the phone you'll find with Carnival Cruise Lines or the key that you find with Royal Caribbean. But this was a paid service that the cruise lines actually did. So I see a lot more of this going forward because look, it's a way for the cruise lines to make additional cash. It's a way to make more money. So why not? So I see this going forward. But typically, what you're going to find is the people who have priority in terms of boarding times are those who have a higher status with the cruise lines. And so the higher status, chances are the quicker you board the ship. But so for new cruises, showing up early before your appointment time will just not work. So the second thing will be the health questionnaire. In the past, the health questionnaire was just a few questions, yes, no, and you'll tick it and, you'll go on, not really much of a health screening. But moving forward, there will be a more extensive health questionnaire and there will be some level of health screening, at least a temperature check. And unfortunately, in this situation, if you have a higher than normal temperature, you may not cruise. And it may not be because of COVID-19, it could just be for the regular flu, which is also contagious. And I think right now, cruise lines are moving forward, cruise lines are going to be very, very, very jittery when it comes to people having higher temperatures or showing any symptoms of any kind of illnesses. So moving forward, I believe that the cruise lines will begin to take the health screening very seriously. So if you have a higher temperature, they may not let you board. And you'll be expected to fill out your health questionnaire extensively, almost signing your life away. But, cruise lines are going to expect this. And this brings a more critical thing, travel insurance. I will advise travelers going forward to have some sort of travel insurance. And that is if the cruise lines do not bake this into the cruise fare. Because really, at the end of the day, cruise lines don't want to take on the liability of having someone sick and having to turn them away and then reimburse them or give them a future cruise credit. So the best thing for the cruise lines will be, hey, you know what? take out a travel insurance. Once you have travel insurance or you have proof of travel insurance, it's one of the things that will allow you to board the ship. The third one is no more self-serve buffet. Yes, this is probably the most painful one for a lot of people, and I think people have differing opinions regarding this. In the past, what would happen is you would survey, grab your plate and your silverware, and then go and select whatever it is you want. So it was freestyle, it was self-serve buffet. Moving forward, that will not happen again. I don't think cruise lines are going to have the appetite to go back to the way it used to be, which was self-serve. Now it's going to be serve or service buffet, in which someone will stand behind the counter and serve you your food in the buffet. People have different opinions about this. I personally think it's good, and I think for the cruise lines this works out great. One, because they can control the type of infection, if any, that may be passed from people who serve themselves on the buffet. And again, people have differing opinions on this based on your experience. There was a time after I had done all the surveying, had picked up my plate and my silverware, and I was about to serve myself, and I was waiting for the person in front of me. And this person decided to sneeze. Well, the good thing is, well, I'm not sure whether it was good or bad. They didn't sneeze into the food. They actually turned away and sneezed, but they sneezed into their hands. And immediately after, decided to grab the serving spoon with that same hand and serve themselves. At that point, I just said, not going to happen. And so this is food I had been looking forward to that I just couldn't bear to touch that spoon and use it. I actually had to tell one of the servers to change the spoon at that point. But again, I was already put off at that moment, and I couldn't even eat what it was. Now, with service buffet, that will not happen. Moving forward, it's going to be service buffet. You'll have someone behind the counter who will serve you. After serving you, you move on to the next line. Now, the downside of this to people is they are not going to be able to serve themselves. You cannot. Some people will be bashful and won't pile up on their plates. Others will just not feel like letting someone serve them on and on. But here's the thing: the servers don't care. Ask for whatever it is you need. Ask them to load it on. But also, on the flip side, it's actually a good thing. On one of the videos I made on how not to gain weight on a cruise, one of the things I said was avoid the buffet. But you know what? Right now, I will strike that off my list and say, actually go to the buffet. Because if you're a bashful person like I am, I'm not going to ask anyone to just keep on piling it up on my plate. But the other side of this is you can go as many times as possible. The servers don't care. They don't mind. They're ready to serve you as much as you want and as many items as you want, as long as your plate can contain it. And you can go back and forth as many times as you want. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody cares. So that's also going to happen. But will it give you the freedom to explore as much as you want, like on a dime, just say, maybe I should try this. Maybe it won't happen that way, but again, it shouldn't take away from the experience. Here's one thing that will particularly be helpful to the cruise line, I think probably to the planet. The amount of waste that occurs with food will likely reduce. I mean, it might be just a little bit, but there would be some waste reduction here. Because people now who go to the line will be assured of what they want, and they will get exactly what they want. Those who are bashful will not ask for too much, and I think there will be a good balance here, at least almost. So the freestyle self-service buffet, unfortunately, new cruises, you will never experience that. So the next one is the master drill, and I think this one is going to be universally applauded. But for those of you, for you new cruisers, here's what the master drill used to be. At some point before the ship leaves the terminal, you had to go for your emergency drill. And this emergency drill meant that at a certain time they're going to call on the loudspeakers, and everybody on the ship had to go to the designated muster station. When I first started cruising, we had to take our life vest and go to a very hot corridor. I think this was on Princess Cruises actually, 10 or so years ago. And we had to stay on a corridor, and we had to wait in line, and we had to listen to the drill, to the instructions on how to use a life vest. And it was boring, it was hot, and we wanted to really enjoy our cruise, but we were held up by this drill that lasted for I think about 45 minutes. Yes, it was painful. I think with time, cruise lines have learned to try to streamline the process. The next cruise I had was on Carnival. It was pretty much the same thing. I think the time was shorter. It was brutal on us. It was even more brutal on the kids then, and it was no fun. But with time now, you have, at least in the last few cruises, what we've had is we've had to go to one of the venues on board. We have to check in, of course, with your card, listen to instructions, and then you headed back to your stateroom. It hasn't been bad because last few cruises has been indoors, so there has been some level of air conditioning. It's still been slow, but it's worked out well. The last cruise I went on, December 2019, was an MSC Cruises, the MSC Bellissima. It was great. There was nothing wrong with it. Only this time, the muster drill was done in 6 different languages. And yes, that was painful. It was very, very, very painful. Now, I like MSC because of the different languages. That's actually one of the attractive things to MSC, because it gives you an international feel to it. I mean, if you're going to leave the US coast and or even go to another country and get on MSC, you'll have the feeling like that you have actually traveled, like you've left the United States, or that you're experiencing different cultures, different languages. So it gives that sense that you have actually that you're actually on vacation. But for the muster drill, 6 to 7 different languages, that was painful. Well, right now, that's not going to happen anymore. The muster drill, as we know it, as old cruisers know it, is out of the window. The new system right now is you will have your muster drill in your stateroom, in the comfort of your stateroom. You switch on your television set, you listen, and you go through the muster drill. At some point, they will tell you where your muster station is. Depending on the cruise line, you either call to tell them that you're done with the muster drill, or the TV would actually record the fact that you went through the entire muster drill. If you try and skip, I don't even think you have the opportunity to skip. But if you try and skip or just try and cheat through the system, you'll be forced to listen through it. And then you now have to go to your muster station and swipe your card or use whatever type of device you have to indicate that you know your muster station. And I think that is perhaps the best innovation so far on the cruise line. Nobody is going to miss the old style, and so for new cruises, you're not missing anything. In actual fact, congratulations, you did not have to go through the harrowing and difficult and painful experience of going through this just boring, long muster drill. And I, for one, am happy about that. And for new cruisers, well, you're lucky. You're going to have the new type of muster drill, which is close to painless. So the next one is going to be the use of electronic devices. So a lot of the cruise lines had been trying to introduce the use of apps and electronics onto the cruise lines, but now I think it's going to be fully introduced by virtually all cruise lines, and it is going to stay. So all the cruise lines that I've been on have one form of app or the other that helped you to make reservations. You'll find the daily order or agenda on it. I mean, you'll have everything on it. But more importantly, it's now the electronic bracelets or chain or some form of non-contact way in which you can pay for drinks. You'll use it to get into your room. It provides a less contact experience on the cruise line, and it is going to stay. You're going to be using your apps more. Now, this is going to be, I know, more difficult for those who are older, because I can imagine my parents trying to go through these apps and trying to make reservations, order food, going through the the agenda for the day. So I don't think it will work well for them. So I think cruise lines are going to take a hard look at it and figure out what they're going to pull back on and what features they are going to really just push through. But rest assured, the use of electronic devices, your smartphones and the apps and bracelets and whatever devices they have for non-contact transaction, it's going to come in a big way, and it's going to remain. And you'll actually have more electronic communication on board. It's going to become more and more predominant. It's going to be more and more prevalent. You'll see it more. You're going to be using your apps more. You're going to be using touch screens more, probably in the rooms, to order stuff, to make reservations for shows, even make reservations for dining. And who knows, someone is going to come up with a greater and newer idea, and again, it's going to be much more. So for older folks who are planning, who are going to be first-time cruises, well, my advice is try and get upon the learning on how to use your apps. And the great thing about this pandemic is, because of a lot of the Zoom calls and communication via apps and computers, a lot of people have actually become more tech savvy than before. So it may not be such a huge hump for people to get anything. So those are the 5 things. If you have cruised before and you have other things that you think should be on the list, please leave a comment. If you are a new cruiser and this is making you a little bit nervous, or you have any questions, just leave the questions below. I'll be happy to answer you. And I'm sure a lot of new-time cruisers, or old-time cruisers rather, will gladly answer your questions regarding future cruises. Please like and subscribe for more videos. If you disagree with me with something, you can also give me a thumbs down, and just leave your comments, and I'll try and answer you as best as I can. So I hope you enjoyed this, and see you next time. And don't forget to like and subscribe. All right? See you later. Bye.